Welcome to the podcast of School Beyond Limitations. In this podcast, you will learn how to guide your child through their school life with the intention to help them find their unique essence that will allow your daughter, your son to live a fulfilled and meaningful life. Is there a contradiction between holistic education and the preparation for examinations at School Beyond Limitations? Well, my name is Dr. Martina Geromin. I'm the CEO, co-founder and designer of the School Beyond Limitations learning model. If you would like your child to live a fulfilled and serene and happy life, then you may want to subscribe to this channel. So holistic education, we already talked about that, is the education of the entire human being. We have a very distinctive blueprint, which has been already shared with you as well. But I always think it's important to repeat it because it's so extremely essential. And we say in all we do, we believe in the power of education in order to bring the unique essence of each student into life. And this is basically it. So each student, how does that look and what does that look like at School Beyond Limitations? So we have students who want to achieve also high academic goals. We have students who want to become entrepreneurs. We have students who want to work as autonomous workers. We have students who want to become creatives. But as mentioned before, we have also students who really want to go to university, who want to study, who want to undertake a very academic journey and pathway. And that's basically it. We actually take that very seriously and we handhold our students in order for them to achieve their goals, also from an academic point of view. So examinations basically are embedded in the blueprint of School Beyond Limitations if a student wants to pursue that kind of destination. But how and what can we do for our students, and what can you do as parents for your children that they become successful and that they are successful in the examinations? And it's completely normal that, it's part of their experience to be nervous about it, to be sometimes also stressed out. And within School Beyond Limitations, we all work very closely with one another. So each facilitator is there for their personal students, but we also have facilitators who have specific tasks and who also take on board, the responsibility to help the other facilitators to support the students accordingly. So in order to get prepared very well and to be ready to embrace the best preparation for examinations, our examination officer and learning strategist, Emma Dunkley, actually wrote an interesting article, which I completely agree with. And she shares techniques that can be integrated at home, but also at school. And one of the main things in order to become really successful during examinations, of course, is the preparation. So preparation is key. What does that mean also at School Beyond Limitations? Preparation doesn't mean I don't do anything. Preparation starts really very intensively by knowing what I'm doing, by getting the action plan together, the learning plan together. So that means that together with the facilitator, the student and the parents, they design the learning plan, the action plan, how to get there. That's very important. So there must be a clear schedule. It must be broken down into smaller milestones, because if I'm not breaking this down, then the student may feel overwhelmed. But if I see the entire bulk of what it entails, at least I get an understanding what it means to really get knowledgeable about all the content. But I also get the help by the facilitator to break it down accordingly. And of course, what does that also mean? I also need to gather all the materials. So I need to have the textbooks and any other kind of resources. And also with that, our facilitators help a lot. Another important aspect within School Beyond Limitations, however, is also the learning groups. So we put the students together according to their choice of subjects, and they can then meet even beyond school hours so that they can nourish one another beyond school hours. They study together, and for instance, last year we had such learning groups that were really extremely, and even this year, very powerful. They meet in the afternoon, they stay together for 3-4 hours, they ask questions one another, and then they come prepared with the questions into the mentoring session with the facilitator, with their mentor, into the eye time, into the lesson, also prepared with questions. And of course, that means that the students also need to do their job. So they need to provide the facilitators and themselves with past papers. We really ask them to practice their problems, to practice their techniques, because it's all about practicing. And one important aspect that really makes the big difference within School Beyond Limitations, and this is what I mentioned before, is the learning together. But the learning together goes even further. We invite our students to teach back to other students so that what they learn will be taught by them to their peers. And those teach back sessions are extremely powerful. On top of those teach back sessions, we also have boot camps and hackathons. What are boot camps? Boot camps are 1 week long learning experiences led by our facilitators on specific subjects, on specific areas within the subjects, so that the students together with a facilitator, let's make an example, they go to business. So the entire week is crafted around business IGCSE or business A-level, and the students come together from the different classes. And you can imagine, and we know that also from the Chetinine schools and other approaches, how much students learn from listening to one another. So that's a very important key aspect. And then there, of course, are other learning techniques, such as, of course, practicing in all the papers. So we ask our students to at least hand in 3 to 4 past papers under simulated conditions, so that their facilitator can give them feedback. If our students do that, then their outcome is also accordingly. So it's also very positive, and we are very proud about that. Of course, practice, learning together, teaching back as much as possible, using the mentoring sessions, talking to people outside, talking to the family, coming together, all of this. And then, of course, simple aspects such as creating summarization, summaries about what they have learned, sharing the summaries that they learned with one another, going through the summaries that they wrote to see whether the summary of one person is actually the same summary of another person. Maybe something got forgotten, that's also very important. And another thing I think is really that they use also the technology wisely. And this is what Emma Dunkley also mentioned, and we all mention, use technology for your benefit, to your favor. Use educational apps instead of getting lost, in the social media world. Use it, and also there, schedule your time. If you have leisure time, there's leisure time. But when you are academically focused, keep being academically focused and use the technology really wisely. And then another part, which I already mentioned before, is really listen to the feedback that the students get, because the students get feedback from their facilitators and from their peers, when they learn together. So when I use the feedback really actively, and I put then the feedback, the constructive feedback again into action, out of that I can learn the most. So one part is really effective, as mentioned before, time management. And effective time management is really having a schedule, keeping to the schedule, and actually then, if I'm not able to keep to the schedule, just find out why. Has the student gotten lost because distracted or whatsoever? Or was there a problem that needs to be discussed with the facilitator? So that's two different pair of shoes. If there is a problem that the concept hasn't been understood, then this needs to be brought back to the lesson. And there, parents can also look into it a little bit, and you can find out how your child is doing. So it's really setting priorities. I, as a student, if I'm on the trajectory of examinations, again, it's completely different from traditional settings, because in this case, the choice to go in that direction comes from the student. So if it's coming from within, I go in that direction, and then I just, as a student, are encouraged and motivated, inspired, and sometimes also a little bit pushed towards keeping priorities really on top of things. And as mentioned before, use technology wisely. Don't get distracted, and avoid procrastination. Anytime when I say, oh, I'm starting in 5 minutes, or I'm starting in an hour, switch this mindset. If you switch that mindset, and this is what we are also doing with our students in the mentoring session, and this is also something that parents can do, of course. So, of course, all of this is very important, but we are a holistic educational institution which really nourishes the all-round well-being of the student. So we need to be aware that it is also important for the students to have enough sleep, so that they can say, I'm rested, I can then focus again the next day. So that's very important, and there also parents can help. And of course, having a balanced diet, eating healthy. We know exactly that eating healthy keeps us awake and keeps us energetic. And of course, we talked about it already, how important it is to physically engage, to do some physical exercise, go out, go for a walk, go running. And there is anxiety, of course. And if there is anxiety, we have lots of different strategies that we also implement with the students in mentoring, and we encourage them to do them also afterwards. So it's about breathing techniques. Just calm down. Positive self-talk. I've prepared myself. I can do it. Have I listened to the feedback? Have I put the feedback into practice? Have I stuck to my action plan? Have I been focused? And if this all is a clear yes, and I can reassure you, if this is a clear yes, then I can say, I've done all my work. Well done, Martina. Well done, Robert. Well done, whoever it is. I'm prepared. I'm prepared. And then, of course, in the examination situation, just take your time. Students need to take their time, and that's something parents can also encourage to do. We do always do. Read the tasks and the questions very, very clearly. Read them, so that you understand all the details. And if I know, and if I go back and get back to the question, then everything will just work out. And then also visualize the success. Be ready to embrace the success. Be aware that if you've done everything, then success is just a consequence, and it can't be different. And this is the approach of examination preparation. So there is no contradiction between holistic education and getting ready for an examination and for exams, if the student themselves have decided that this is what they want to do. So if you think that this is valuable, and if you want to know more about our channel, then please subscribe, and if you think that this is the right environment for your child, for your son, for your daughter, then just apply. We are very much looking forward to embrace new students to our learning environment. At School Beyond Limitations, we support our students find their unique essence. Feel free to share the content of this podcast with other parents. We are here to show that your children can indeed bring their unique essence into life. So, reach out to us if you think that this is what you'd like your daughter, your son to experience, or apply through our website. Also, leave your comments, your questions, or your review about the podcast. Share it with others. And as you know, sharing is caring.